Hello, and welcome to a very unexpected and impromptu book haul. I posted a book haul only like a month ago. I didn't expect to be doing one again so soon, but I was at work yesterday and I got to see somebody posted that Barnes& and Noble was doing half off on all of their hard books. Or hardcover books. So obviously, I had to go after work and see for myself what was there and what I wanted to buy. This is my second time shopping the sale. I shopped it last year as well, and I was not going to miss out on it this year because that is a great deal. I tried to keep my whole shopping total under $100. I was not successful. I think I got spent altogether like 127-ish dollars on all of these books, which was a really good deal. I tried to take stuff out of my basket and I just couldn't bring myself to take any of these books out. So I'm excited to share them with you guys today. I really shouldn't be spending money on books at all. I wasn't planning to because I'm strictly budgeting for next year because I have so many things going on, but I just could not help myself and I charged it. So I am going to share with you guys the books that I did pick up yesterday. The first one is one that I actually just finished and read last week, and that is Recitatif by Toni Morrison, which is her only short story that she has published, and there is an introduction in the beginning by Zadie Smith. The story itself is very short. I actually was able to read an ebook of this from my library, but I gave it 5 stars, so I definitely had to have a physical copy for my shelves and for when I'm talking about my best books of the year, because this book finally brings us to my 10th 5-star read for the year, which I was crossing my fingers hoping I was going to find one before the year ended, and this one was it. This tiny little book, full retail price, was $16. I would never spend that much for one short story, but $8 was a little bit more manageable, and so I was able to justify owning this because, like, yeah, $16 for like a book that is basically like 10 pages is a little bit ridiculous. The beginning by Zadie Smith introduction is longer than the actual story itself, but the story is really cool because it's very much kind of like a thought experiment where we're following 2 girls. One is black and one's white, and we don't know which one is which. And even by the end of the story, you're not going to know. That's the whole point of the story. You might think one way, and then someone will say or do something, and you'll change your mind. I really thought that this was a brilliant short story, and I'm definitely glad that I now have it for my shelves. The next book is one I'm currently reading. I actually have it checked out as an ebook from my library, but it's actually going to be returned back in a day or two, and I'm like not even a quarter of the way in, so I wanted to be able to continue reading it. I'm on hold at the library, and it's going to be another 5 weeks before they give it to me, so I was like, you know what, I'll just buy a physical copy so I can continue reading it. And that is Africa Risen, which is a speculative fiction short story collection anthology edited by Cherie Renee Thomas, Ogonchove, Donald Ekpeki, and Zelda Knight. This short story collection, I considered possibly not buying it just because, okay, I have read the first like 3 or 4 stories so far, and I didn't think they were bad, but I wasn't like super compelled to keep going with the series or with the rest of the anthology, but I really do want to give it a try. So I figured I want the physical copy. I'm going to sit down and read it and see how I feel about it. And hopefully I do enjoy the rest of the stories a bit more. But I mean, if not, I can always unhaul it, but I figured might as well buy it while I can get it for half off. And the cover on this is just so beautiful. I'm really hoping that I do end up loving this book and reading it at least 4 stars, so I can keep it on my shelves. Next, we have 2 books that are part of the Penguin cloth-bound collection, and the first one is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This book is a classic I'm going to try and get to in 2023. I'm trying to read one chunky classic a month, and this one definitely qualifies for that. It's very intimidating, so let's see if I can do this. Now, this book is over 1,000 pages. I'm definitely going to try and get the audiobook from my library to help me out as I'm getting through this one, because I'm gonna need all the help I can get. I have seen the movie though already, but it's been a while, and so I don't really remember everything, and I heard a lot of stuff is different from the movie, so yeah, I'm excited to see for myself how this book is. The other Penguin cloth-bound classic I got was this one, which is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. I really love this one. I think it's one of the more recently published ones. I cannot remember for the life of me if I've read this book or not. I vaguely think I might have read this when I was younger, before I was like using Goodreads and stuff to keep track of what books that I have and haven't read yet. But either way, I'll definitely reread it again, because if I have read it a long time ago, it's been so long that I don't remember everything. I might not have read it though, so I guess I'll have to just kind of figure that out once I actually do end up picking up this book. Next, we have a book that I just was completely a shelf cover buy for me. I had not heard of it before, and that is this beautiful book called Swan in Love by Marcel Proust. I haven't read anything by this author before. This is published by Pushkin Press. It's just really gorgeously designed. This is the spine underneath the dust jacket as well, which is really cute. This is a novella, and I'll read you the synopsis. So this is kind of what made me interested in picking it up, not just because it's a beautifully designed book. So when Charles Swan first lays eyes on Odette de Crécy, he does not find her beautiful. But as their paths continue to cross in the drawing rooms and theaters of Parisian high society, the seeds of desire begin to flourish. What follows is a journey through self-delusion, jealousy, and delirious fantasy, which will take Swan far from the sedate comfort of his gilded lifestyle. So that does sound very interesting to me, and maybe if I enjoy this book, I would be interested in picking up other books by Marcel Proust. This translation is a new translation by Lucy Rates. Next, we have Braised Pork by Anne Yu. Actually, I think that they just released another novel recently, but I wanted to pick up this one first. This book was on my radar when it came out. I want to guess this came out like around 2019. And this came out in 2020. So yeah, I did have this book on my radar but never really got around to reading it, so I decided to pick it up, and it's not really that long of a novel, and give it a try. That way I can see if I want to pick up her next novel or not. In this book, we're following a young woman, and she lives in Beijing. She ends up finding her husband dead. Next to him, there is this pencil sketch of a strange watery figure, and that kind of just ends up not leaving her mind, this sketch. She goes on this journey across Beijing through different like bars and meeting different people and stuff. It's a story about her self-discovery as a newly empowered young woman, and an atmospheric and cinematic evocation of middle-class urban China. This book sounds very interesting to me, so I'll definitely keep you guys posted on if I like this one or not. And the last book I picked up from the sale that is in the fiction category would be Elektra by Jennifer Saint. I know she's also published Ariadne, which I haven't gotten to, but lately I've been a little bit more open to reading like Greek and myth retellings, so I'm definitely going to be picking this up very soon. This one is following three women tangled in an ancient curse. So when Clytemnestra marries Agamemnon, she ignores the insidious whispers about his family line. But on the eve of the Trojan War, Agamemnon betrays Clytemnestra in the most unimaginable way. She must confront the curse that has long ravaged their family. We're also following Princess Cassandra in Troy, and Elektra, who is Clytemnestra and Agamemnon's youngest daughter. What got me interested in reading more books like this is I read 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes earlier in the year and gave that a 5-star rating. So I'm hoping that it's a subgenre of fiction that I'm really into, and I'll continue to pick up stuff from. Next, for my last two books that I picked up from Barnes & Noble, they are both nonfiction books. So the first one is actually a cocktail mixology guide. It's called Black Mixcellence, a comprehensive guide to black mixology by Tamika Hall with Colin Spare Appia, as well as featuring some different stories from some of the industry's most notable trailblazers. There are 70 different cocktail recipes in this book, so I'm excited to try some of these out and see if they're any good or not. But I was looking through them. I'll give you guys like kind of an idea. So they have pictures. Some of them have pictures, some of them don't. But they all just look so good. The only thing is like I'm gonna have to spend money buying the ingredients, because I was looking through and a lot of this stuff is not stuff that I already own. So yeah, I don't know exactly how quickly I'll be getting to some of these, but it would be fun to at least try a few of these. And then lastly, we have The Time Traveler's Guide to Regency Britain by Ian Mortimer. This book I have been wanting to read since it was published, I think earlier in the year, but my library did not get a copy of it. So I knew it was one of those ones I was going to have to purchase myself if I wanted to read it. Ian Mortimer does a whole series. Like he has A Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England, I believe, as well as, let me see here if they actually list them. Yes, he has one for Medieval England, for Elizabethan England, and Restoration Britain. So I am interested in picking up the Medieval England one and possibly the others as well if I do end up enjoying this one. This was the only one that they had like a hardcover version there at Barnes & Noble, so I could get it for the half off price. They did have the Medieval England one, but it was in paperback, so I'll purchase that one at some other time. But I mean, the topic of the book is, as you would guess from the title, about Regency Britain. And so this is an immersive history of Georgian England that gives its reader firsthand experience of life as it was truly lived during the era of Jane Austen, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and the Duke of Wellington. There are some full color photographs in this as well, not really too many, but there are a few. So I'm glad to add this to my nonfiction collection. I really want to have eventually a section in my bookshelves that has all of my nonfiction books so that I can look at them and see which ones I have and haven't read yet. But yeah, I don't have plans to do that anytime soon. And then lastly, since those were all of the books that I picked up at Barnes & Noble, I have one other bonus book I want to show you guys, and that is Hungry Ghosts by Kevin Jared Hossain. This book was sent to me by the publisher, which was Echo, which is an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. This book is coming out in February of 2023. They had reached out to me on Instagram asking if I would be interested in receiving an ARC copy of this book, and after reading the synopsis I thought it sounded pretty interesting, and so I said yes, and they sent me this ARC. This is a Caribbean story set in Trinidad in the 1940s, and we're following two families colliding and a chilling mystery that shows how interconnected their lives truly are. I would love to get to this before it's published in February, so watch out for this hopefully in a future wrap-up and my thoughts on it. So those are all of the books that I just added into my book collection as if I needed any more, but you know, I am a sucker for a book sale, and I feel like I'm probably not going to buy any books in this amount for the rest of 2023 until they have another hardback sale maybe. But yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.